Hello engineers, welcome to the brand new video of PTS CAD Expert. Myself Anupama, your CAD trainer. So today's video is all about your concrete design. So I'm going to start a complete series, and this series will be all about G+1 building analysis and design, including all the principle, concept, configuration, different tricks and techniques, just like a pro using the software STAAD Pro. So I will help you to create an error-free file in just one go and the correct sequence to create a project in STAAD Pro. So I will be taking a real-life project and show you the various steps involved in designing and analyzing a project in STAAD Pro. So the complete workflow for the series will be the basic setting, then the complete geometry, then the model loading part, and then the structural analysis part, then the concrete design, and finally the result detailing. So I have broken all this topic into 3 parts just for you to digest it better. They are the pre-modeling stage, the modeling stage, and the post-modeling stage. So the 2 things which we need in this complete process are a complete plane, both ground floor plane and the first floor plane, with the proper placement of the column, and then we have to prepare a column beamline plane. I will be uploading the videos part-wise. And if you are new to this channel, then do subscribe and join us in this wonderful journey of learning structure. And if you are interested in learning 3D detailing of a structure using the Revit structure, then you can definitely visit our official application and enroll a complete professional course of Revit structure with robot structure analysis. So without further ado, let's get into the subject. Stick into your seat because I'm going to share some awesome content for you. So let's begin. So before starting working with any design, what are the points you should remember and should be taken care while designing any project? Okay, so what are the points? So like columns has to be always positioned at a corner or junction of walls. So you need to ensure as a design engineer that when you are getting a plan from an architect, okay, that the columns are positioned at a spacing of 4 meter minimum at least, and maximum up to 8 meter to avoid cracks as well as deflection in beam and columns. So my dear friend, you need to position all these columns, and also you need to look after the orientation also. So while deciding the column size, you also need to take care of certain things. Okay, that whenever the column is positioned, that the door is not opening, and that there shouldn't be any objection to the doors. Okay, so the column should be positioned very well, and due care has to be taken while positioning the column and orientation of the column. Okay, so the next thing is the method of working. So what are the methodology of working? Okay, so for analysis, calculations are done manually as well as using various software. So for designing any kind of building, for analyzing, so it can be done manually as well as by using the softwares. So every one of us, we know that, okay? But why STAAD Pro but not other software? So if we talk about STAAD Pro, the unique features which STAAD Pro has is it is a very strong tool in analysis of any kind of structure. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, when I say I'm handling a project of worth rupees XYZ, then I need to take care of economy as well. So in that case, if you go on procuring several software, then what's going to happen? That's going to add on the project cost. So we can use the STAAD Pro for various kind of project like residential, for commercial. We can also use this STAAD Pro for industrial projects, for steel projects, for RCC, as well as for composite material. Okay, then either it be a foundation or machine foundation. So maximum things can be designed by using the STAAD Pro, that is in a single platform. So as a designer, I personally feel that software has its lot of unique features. Okay. So the next point is that what are the elements which would be designed using this software. Okay. So they are slab, beams, column, footing, openings. Okay. So these elements can be also designed manually. Okay. And I'm going to also show you how can you do this manual design as well. Okay. So I will be showing you some checks as well manually. No doubt software does it, but it is very important to cross check, as a good designer. Okay, so I'll be showing you the manual part as well. Okay. Now next, if we talk about the progress of work, so the first thing is that the plan, section, elevation, door and window schedule, these things are done using AutoCAD. Okay. So determination of the following has been done. So all these loads are considered into the design. That is the dead load, live load, column size, slab size, wind analysis has to be done, frame design has to be done. Okay. Then after frame design, the frame analysis and the initial building model. Okay. And many more things. And the next is that what are the required data from STAAD Pro for designing the structural elements. So we'll be also discussing these things, that what are the required data which are needed from the STAAD Pro for designing the structural elements manually. Okay. So it's a very important topic. Okay. So likewise, we'll be looking into the topics. Okay. So that was a little introduction part regarding the STAAD Pro. So the next thing which we are going to see is that what are the settings need to be done before we start designing on the STAAD Pro. That means the welcome screen and the configuration setting. Okay. So let's start. So guys, the first step, okay, the first work before starting working in STAAD Pro is that you need to create a new folder. Okay. So now we'll create a new folder. Okay. So you can create the folder at desktop itself. Okay. Or you can create it in any specified place you want to create. Okay. So I have created a folder naming as new project. Okay. So you can create it, whatever name you want to give it, you can create with that. Okay. So the next step is that, the second step is that now we are going to open the software. Okay. So the right procedure to open the software is that I'm going to click on the right button of my mouse and then click on a run as administrator. Okay. So this is the right way to open the software. Not only the STAAD Pro, but any other software. So this is the interface of the STAAD Pro. Okay. So as soon as you open the software, you will see a screen like this. Okay. So सबसे पहले काम क्या है before starting any project work? The first step is that how to do the basic setting. Okay. सो बेसिक सेटिंग करना बहुत ही ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि आप जब भी कोई डिज़ाइन करेंगे, आइदर इट्स अ कंक्रीट और स्टील डिज़ाइन. ओके. अगर आपका सेटिंग सही नहीं होगा, ठीक है, जो भी बेसिक सेटिंग्स है वो अगर सही नहीं होगा, देन आपका वर्क वो बिगाड़ सकता है. ठीक है. सो यू विल फेस द डिफिकल्टीज इन द लेटर स्टेज. ठीक है. सो इट्स बेटर टू डू द बेसिक सेटिंग्स बिफोर स्टार्टिंग एनी प्रोजेक्ट. ओके. So now we are going to see one by one what are the basic settings we need to do. Okay. So सबसे पहला चीज़ जो हमें ध्यान रखना है before doing the setting, okay, is that this under license configuration, ठीक है, आपका एटलीस्ट ये 3 दैट इज द एडवांस एनालिसिस इंजन, इंडियन डिज़ाइन कोड एंड ग्लोबल डिज़ाइन कोड्स, एटलीस्ट आपका ये 3 आपका टिक होना चाहिए, ठीक है, ये तीनों आपका चेक रहना चाहिए, ओके। सो नेक्स्ट इज दैट अंडर दिस प्रोजेक्ट टास्क, यहाँ पर ऑप्शन से आपका न्यू प्रोजेक्ट, ओपन फ्रॉम प्रोजेक्ट वाइज, कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, बैकअप मैनेजर, लाइसेंस मैनेजमेंट, ओके। सो हम लोग क्या करेंगे अंडर कॉन्फ़िगरेशन, ठीक है, हम लोग कुछ सेटिंग करेंगे, ठीक है। ये डायलॉग्स बॉक्स ऐसा आपका ओपन हो जाएगा जिसके अंदर आपका बहुत सारे ऑप्शंस रहेंगे, ठीक है। सो हमें यहाँ से कुछ कुछ ऑप्शन सेलेक्ट करना है और उसका कुछ कुछ सेटिंग्स हमें चेंज करना है, ठीक है। सो हम लोग एक एक करके देखेंगे क्या क्या हमें यहाँ से चेंज करना है, ठीक है। तो सबसे पहला है बेस यूनिट। सो सबसे पहला ऑप्शन जो हम लोग देखने वाले वो है बेस यूनिट, ठीक है। सो एज सून एज आप बेस यूनिट सेलेक्ट करेंगे, वी विल सी हियर रिटन एज सेलेक्ट बेस यूनिट। तो यहाँ से हमें सेलेक्ट बेस यूनिट से सेलेक्ट करना है। सो यहाँ पर आपको 2 ऑप्शंस दिखेगा, देयर इज एन ऑप्शन कॉल्ड इंग्लिश एंड अनदर वन इज योर metric, okay. So we are going to choose metric, okay, because आपका जो स्ट्रक्चरल ड्राइंग होता है वो आपका नॉर्मली mm में ही होता है, ठीक है। सो बेसिकली वी हैव टू चूज metric from here, ठीक है। एंड इफ in some other location feet and inches are used, then you can go with the other option, that is English, okay. So remember one thing, it's important that you have to choose as per your plane, okay. जो भी आपका plane होगा, जो भी आपका drawing होगा provided by the architect, so as per that unit you have to choose here the base unit, okay. The second thing is that global axis orientation, okay. So it is another important thing, okay. So under the global axis orientation we have 2 options, ठीक है, that is y up and z up, ठीक है। So from here we have to select the axis of the rotation, ठीक है। So from here we can set the axis. So you can choose anything, either you can choose y up or z up as per your reference, okay. I prefer to use y up, okay. So if you choose y up, then your horizontal plane will be x and z, and if you choose z up, then your horizontal plane will be x and y. So this thing about the horizontal plane, ठीक है, about all these things you will come to know in the later part, okay, what is all about, okay. But basically from here you have to choose, okay. So आप यहाँ पर जैसे चूज करेंगे आपका जो प्रोजेक्ट होगा उसमें ऐसे ही हॉरिजॉन्टल प्लेन आपको दिखाई देगा, ठीक है। सो दिस इज द अनदर थिंग एंड देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ अदर ऑप्शंस, ठीक है, लाइक बैकग्राउंड कलर, ओके। सो आपको बैकग्राउंड कलर क्या चाहिए, यू हैव टू सेलेक्ट, यू कैन सेलेक्ट फ्रॉम हियर वेदर यू वांट द वाइट बैकग्राउंड or black background, so you can choose as per your preference, okay. जो है वो है आपका इनपुट आउटपुट फाइल फॉर्मेट, ओके। सो इनपुट आउटपुट फाइल फॉर्मेट में क्या होता है आपका कि whenever you will input your file, then what are the commands you want, आपको कौन कौन सा कमांड यहाँ पर चाहिए, you can select from here, okay. देन यहाँ पर जो कोऑर्डिनेट्स जॉइंट कोऑर्डिनेट्स है, ठीक है, इनिशियली आपको कितना जॉइंट कोऑर्डिनेट्स चाहिए, यू कैन सेलेक्ट फ्रॉम हियर, ओके। एंड द अदर हियर नेक्स्ट इज द प्रोफाइल, सेलेक्ट प्रोफाइल टेबल, ओके। सो कौन कौन सा प्रोफाइल आपको सेलेक्ट करनी है फ्रॉम हियर, बाय डिफॉल्ट व्हाट आर द प्रोफाइल अवेलेबल हियर, ओके। सो वो आप यहाँ से सेलेक्ट कर सकते हो, ठीक है। Then there are more options. Okay, the next one is your state default design codes, and this is one of the important option here. Okay, so जैसे कि आप यहाँ से अपना सेलेक्ट डिफॉल्ट स्टिल डिज़ाइन कोड, ठीक है. सो आप लोग यहाँ पर देख सकते हो कि यहाँ पर ऑलरेडी बाय डिफॉल्ट अमेरिकन स्टैंडर्ड कोड इज सेलेक्टेड हियर, दैट इज AISC 36005. ओके, सो हम लोग यहाँ पर आपका क्या है स्टिल डिज़ाइन कोड. सो एज यू all of you know that for still design you prefer IS 800. Okay, so you can select from here IS 800. Okay, and the next one is select default concrete design code. ठीक है, इसमें भी बाय डिफॉल्ट आपका अमेरिकन स्टैंडर्ड कोड सेलेक्ट किया हुआ है. सो हम लोग यहाँ से अभी क्या सेलेक्ट करने वाले हैं. ऑल ऑफ यू नो दैट हम लोग फॉर कंक्रीट डिज़ाइन हम लोग यूज़ करते हैं IS 456, isn't it? So from here you can select IS 456. Okay, then the next options are aluminum design code and timber design code. Normally in India this are not used. ठीक है. The next one is the select default shear wall design code. तो इसमें from here there are 3 options. Okay, so we are going to select IS 456 to design the shear wall design code. Okay, so हम लोग ये कोड यहाँ पर यूज करेंगे टू डिजाइन द shear wall. ओके, ऑप्शन you can select from here. Always save auxiliary data, always delete result data if out of sync. Remove Bentley logo from the report. So from here you can check or uncheck as per your preference. Okay, and one more thing is that from the section profile table you have to select here Indian. Okay, from the select default profile table you have to select here Indian. Okay, so this is how you can set the configuration. Okay, then you have to apply and then accept. Okay, so the next thing is that how to start a new project. Firstly, to start a new project we need to create a folder. So we have already created that in our desktop, this one, isn't it? So from here go to the new project. Okay, from new project, from here we'll select space. So there are different structures like space, plane, floor, truss. So space, what is space? Space is generally used for 3D view, like space using XYZ coordinates. Okay, that means it permit loading in any direction. ठीक है, in all 3 directions. And plane is all about, it's generally used for XY global coordinates. Okay, that means there is no loading or deformation perpendicular to the plane, that is in the Z direction. Okay, so from here I'm going to select space. Okay, and from here you can create your file name. So whatever name you want to give you can write here. So I'm creating as G+1 building analysis. Sorry. Analysis and design. Okay, so whatever name you want to create, you want to give to your project, you can write here. Okay, now next is location. So what will be the location to save your file? Okay, so from here you can change your location. So what we are going to select is that we are going to select from here the folder which we have already created, okay, in the desktop. Yeah, I think this is the folder. Okay, ठीक है. So it's not new folder, sorry, it's a new project. Okay, so this will be our folder location, our project location. Okay, so हम लोग ने अभी जो लोकेशन सेट किया हुआ है, so अभी जो भी आपका फाइल आप सेव करेंगे स्टैड प्रो का, तो आपका इसी लोकेशन पे जो आपने नया क्रिएट किया है फोल्डर, उसी पे जाके आपका सारा फाइल सेव होगा. ठीक है. एंड द नेक्स्ट इज द लेंथ यूनिट्स. ओके, सो जब हम लोग ने कॉन्फ़िगरेशन पे ऑलरेडी वहाँ पर बेस यूनिट सेट किया था मेट्रिक, इजंट इट. सो बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट यहाँ पर ऑलरेडी आपका यहाँ पर मीटर और यहाँ पर किलोन्यूटन आपका यहाँ पर ऑलरेडी बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट यहाँ पर सेलेक्ट हो गया है. ठीक है, बिकॉज वी हैव ऑलरेडी चूज द metric. Okay, then what we have to do is that then click to the next. Okay, after next we have to select here add beams. Okay, so by default it is already created here. ठीक है, it's already selected here. Then we have to finish it. Okay, the next thing is that we have to finish it. So as soon as you are done with the initial settings, okay, then you can see this kind of window will open along with the grid lines. Okay, so from here you can close this grid line, okay, or you can also edit the grid lines from here. So you can start working with these grid lines, or you can also use the nodes to start your work. Okay, so how to edit this? So from here you can edit the grid lines. Okay, you can increase the grid lines or you can decrease the grid lines. Okay, so in this way you can increase the grid line, you can decrease the grid line. So this is the left one. In left side you can increase, this will be your right side. Okay, so in this fashion you can increase or decrease your grid line. Okay, and from here you can increase or decrease the spacing between the two grid lines. Okay, and next here the plane. So in what plane you would like to work? If you want to work in XY plane, then you can select the XY plane from here. If you want the XZ plane, you can select the XZ plane from here. If you want YZ, then you can select the YZ plane from here. So accordingly you can select as per as your need from here and edit the grid lines. Okay, the next thing is that if you want to hide these grid lines, then here is an option called your snap node beam. So if you click in this, then the grid lines will be, the grid line will get vanished from here. Okay, now from here you can enter the nodes and you can create through this node, you can create your grid lines. Okay, personally I prefer mostly doing work with using these nodes. Okay, so the first thing which we learn in the STAAD Pro is nodes. Okay, so what is a node? So node is any connection, any junction or point of any two members, between two members, maybe two beams or two columns, is known as your nodes. Okay, so the next important thing is that, so what is a beam? So any horizontal or any vertical member is called beam. Okay, that means that there is nothing like column in this case. Okay, only beam, or a horizontal beam or a vertical beam. Okay, so the next thing is that this tab is very much important. Okay, so the first thing is the setup. तो setup क्या होता है? It gives the job information. Okay, like what is the job, what is the client name. If you're working for some particular project for a particular person, then you can write the client name here, the job number, your project number. Okay, so everything here you can, file name, everything you can add here regarding your job information. So it gives us generally the job information. Okay, so the next thing is the geometry. So geometry is nothing but it helps us modeling of the whole structure. Okay, then the next is the general. So in general there is various thing like properties, your specification, your support. Okay, then load and definitions, then dimensions, then what are the properties of material we are going to use, somewhat and all. Okay, then the next is the analysis. Okay, so analysis is all about the bending moment, shear force, everything like that. Okay, the next part is the design. Okay, the next part is your design. So on the basis of bending moment and shear force, SFD, BMD and all, it will give us a particular design. Okay, fine. I hope you are understanding this. So regarding file naming, I want to say you that never name a file as structure 1. Okay, because by default the name is already structure 1. And if you save the file and do some work in structure 1 and go on doing on as structure 1, the previous file will be replaced by the new one actually. So the work you will be doing will be of no use in the end. Okay, so the actual thing that we are going to do here is geometry. Okay, so this comes in y cross x matrix, means y cross x coordinates. Okay, so now we are going to create our first node. Okay, so how to create that? So let us create it at 0, 0 and 0. Okay, fine. So just you can see here the first node. Okay, this is the first node you can see here. So in order to display the node number on the screen, you can type shift plus n. Okay, so as soon as you will click on shift plus n, the node number will be displayed here. Okay, so you can see here it's 1. Okay, so the next node, let us create at 2. Zero, 0. Okay, so you can see that the 2 nodes are created here and the node number is also displayed. Okay, now just to add beam, you have to go to the beam cursor. Generally by default we have to go to the add beam options. Okay, so this is the add beam option. Then just hold it here. It's not selected. So you can see whenever the cursor will be selected, whenever the options will be selected, you can see there's a symbol just beside the cursor. Okay, so you have to do, just hold it 1 and then to 2. Okay, then we had a beam out here. Okay, fine. So it's that's all for today. Okay, and in the upcoming videos of this series we'll be discussing more. So for the first 2-3 videos I'll be discussing only about the basic things. Okay, then next we'll be starting to work on the real life project. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.